I am so terrified to show my reactions to this banner because one, I'm really exposing myself here, and then two, these cards are really spicy. I only have 3 cards. I only have Sylus, Caleb, and Zane. I don't have Xavier or Raphael's. Maybe I can get them before the event ends. Maybe I can get them payday when I have more money to spend packs. All right. We'll do Silas's first, I guess. I am so terrified, honestly. This is called Innocent Birdcage. How many identities does Sylus, the man who took me in, truly have? All right. Many years ago, a radioactive leak contaminated many citizens in Lincoln City. It transformed them into predators. These individuals have an increased tendency for violence. As the predator population grew, the crime rate soared year after year. The lives of the innocent became as fleeting as autumn leaves. The city, filled with corrupt officials and intricate power struggles, became as fragile as an egg on the edge of a cliff over time. Many have pinned their hopes for salvation on the upcoming mayoral election. Among the candidates, a young contender had a major lead in the polls. They promised to deal with the predator crisis. However, this candidate only recently escaped an assassination attempt by Tartarus, who's an S class predator.
It's been a little over a week since the arrest, and your department already sent in 3 or 4 people. I heard about you. You handled a few predator-related cases over the years. But I'd be careful if I were you. Everyone knows the reputation of the guy who leads Nightstrix.
Nightstrix is a gang that has risen to power in Lincoln's southern district in recent years. They have connections to almost everything. From weapons and intel to various contraband, even satellite hacking, Nightstrix can provide anything so long as the price is right. The chatty guard finally comes to a stop in front of our cell. Our short walk has ended. Thank you, sir. I can take it from here. The guard sheepishly retreats. I head deeper into the corridor.
Special access verified. Please enter.
The mayoral election has various factions on edge. The Lincoln City Bureau of Investigation, or the LCBI, is determined to capture Tartarus and prevent more incidents from occurring. Information about Tartarus is very limited, but a credible source suggests the leader of the Nightstrix may have some leads. Consequently, I can barely say that, the LCBI managed to find a charge serious enough to justify incarcerating this gang leader. His movements are basically restricted. The deal is simple. He gets his freedom in exchange for information related to Tartarus. I hope I'm saying that right. But true to the guard's words, my colleagues left empty-handed. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been suddenly assigned to take over the case today. I wasn't even given the chance to review the file on the leader of Nightstrix. At the end of the corridor is the last cell. Is this the music from the other banner? The most recent spicy banner, I think. Oh no. Inside, it is the leader of Nightstrix. His back is turned to me, but he exudes a nonchalant air. It's just that the music is so good. That voice sounds familiar.
Oh, the LCBI sent a new face.
Sylus?
Long time no see.
I take a step forward, unable to believe my eyes. His fate has been unknown for years, yet here he is in the flesh. You're the leader of Nightstrix? Are you okay? Years ago, this person who had been a constant presence in my life vanished without a trace overnight. I can't believe we're seeing each other again like this. I'm shocked. As my heart races, a flood of questions rushes to the forefront of my mind. I thought you...
This is how you greet your suspects, Miss Enforcer?
The word enforcer brings me back to reality. Aware that this isn't a place for reunions, I push the shock of meeting Sylus again to the back of my mind. I brace myself. I'm here on behalf of the LCBI. I hope you'll be willing to assist me with my work. Can you tell us anything about Tataris, that triple S class predator?
Having information and choosing to share it are two different things.
He glances at the badge on my chest.
Special Enforcer.
I am a special enforcer.
You look good in that uniform.
Thanks. Even behind bars, you have quite the commanding presence.
I thought you'd say you missed me after all this time. Or that you were worried about me, at least.
Distant memories stir, and I move closer to the iron bars that separate us. I whisper to him. Sylus, I was really worried about you. Sylus's index finger passes the bars of the cage. Slowly, he purposely straightens my enforcer badge.
Was it to the point where you'd clean out the safe?
Did I steal from him? I first met Sylus during a predator attack years ago. Back then, I wasn't an enforcer in the Northern District. I was just a kid struggling to survive on the streets in the Southern District. I wasn't alone. In this chaotic, dangerous area of the city, there were others like me. One day, we'd be fighting tooth and nail over a piece of bread from a trash can, and the next day, we could all die at the hands of the predators. Years ago, the Southern District.
Run! Get out of here! Somebody help!
Kill! Kill them all!
Okay. Chaos erupted all around me. The howls of the predators intermingled with the screams of the crowd, the cacophony threatening to burst my eardrums. Blood trickled from the bite wound above my collarbone as I stumbled into an abandoned pharmacy on the deserted street. It hurts. A burst of intense gunfire resounded in the distance. A few seconds passed before a tall figure with a gun entered the pharmacy. The man grabbed a bottle of antiseptic from the shelf next to me, unscrewed the cap, and poured it over his wound. What about my wound? He hastily bandaged it and turned to leave. He didn't even glance at me throughout the entire process. In times like these, staying alive was considered a victory. No one had the luxury to worry about others. My vision blurred from the blood loss, but my survival instinct kicked in. With the last bit of my strength, I grabbed his clothes. Take me with you.
Let go of me.
I need antiseptic. You have a gunshot wound. You got that while being chased, right? If you leave me here, I might accidentally tell people your whereabouts. Before I can finish my sentence, I feel the cold barrel of a gun against my forehead. No.
It'd be easier to solve the problem like this, don't you think?
Don't kill me. If you take me with you, I promise I won't slow you down.
You little... when I find you, I'll skin you alive!
They're here. As the cries of the predators resounded once more, I touched the bite wound above my collarbone. He seemed to have noticed it as well.
Calm down. You won't become a predator.
He poured what was left of the antiseptic onto my wound. Thank you. Pain washed over me, but as I looked up to meet his cold gaze, I forced myself to hold back my tears.
If you want to come with me, dry those tears first.
Sylus was an assassin. He was as lethal as he was notorious. And as he said, I didn't turn into a monster. I sometimes wondered if that was why Sylus saved me. He said my immunity would be a secret. No one else was discovered to be immune, and I didn't want to end up as someone's lab rat in their quest for a cure. Oh, I'm special. After I recovered, Sylus handed me off, a homeless teen, to Wolf. Wolf was his contact. From that moment on, Sylus was a constant presence in my life. Sometimes he stopped by to do business, other times I delivered modified weapons to him on Wolf's behalf. I noticed that aside from his usual job, Sylus occasionally disappeared for a while. When he showed up again, he'd be injured. I couldn't help but wonder what kind of opponent was powerful enough to injure the most feared assassin in the Southern District. There's a lot of paragraph reading I noticed in this card. I feel like not all the other cards were as much as that, if that makes sense. Sylus disappeared again. A few days earlier, Wolf left for a delivery. We quickly lost contact with each other. From the second floor, I peered through a gap in the curtains. I kept an eye on the Watchers who showed up a couple of days ago. They lurked in the shadows, and their intentions weren't obvious. Night fell, and a sudden downpour engulfed the city. Only flashes of lightning pierced the darkness. Sleep eluded me as I tossed and turned. A sense of foreboding encouraged me to reach for the revolver under my pillow. What a life to live. I borrowed it from Sylus without asking after I ran an errand for him. Someone's here. I quickly jumped inside the wardrobe. Even after all the intense situations I experienced over the years, my palms still felt clammy as I held the gun.
Sylus isn't here. Grab the girl. Use her to negotiate.
I dare you.
She can't be his family, can she?
Fools.
Thank you. The commotion outside quickly disappeared. A few seconds passed, and then the wardrobe door was yanked open. The music again. This music does something, bro. Sylus towered over me, his shadow stretched across the wall behind him like the legs of a spider.
Get out.
It's you. I quietly let out a sigh of relief, lowering my gun. I thought Wolf's enemies wanted revenge.
They didn't find this place, but they did find Wolf.
Then he's...
He won't be coming back.
I see. I can't say I'm too surprised. No one was guaranteed to see tomorrow, but even though I acknowledged this harsh reality, I felt a lump form in my throat. Sylus gently tugged at my hand that was still holding the gun. He pulled me out of the wardrobe.
Why didn't you shoot?
If I did, you'd be with Wolf right now. Not wanting to see me as indecisive or a burden, I sniffled and changed the subject. Am I in charge of this place now? You'll still accept jobs here, right? I was worried that Sylus might stop visiting this place since his old contact was gone. The strong cast aside the weak, don't they?
Do you want to be my contact?
Suddenly he grabbed the gun and pressed it against his chest. Without hesitation, Sylus pressed my finger down, pulling the trigger. Well, we know you won't die. Oh. Blood rushed to my head and my temples throbbed, but it took me a few moments to realize that the gun wasn't loaded. Oh, that would have sucked. If the enemies had found me and my gun wasn't even loaded. Are you insane? You're lucky that it didn't have any bullets.
You think I got lucky?
Sylus slipped his finger through the trigger guard and handed me the gun. It was like he returned a toy. I hastily opened the cylinder. It was empty. How did you know?
It's the weight.
I've never held a gun, so I don't know. Sylus produced a bullet from one of his pockets. I didn't know where he got it from. He loaded it into the chamber in the blink of an eye.
If you don't want to end up like Wolf, never hesitate when you shoot.
The gun in my hand felt heavier all of a sudden. Whether it was because of the bullet or something else, I wasn't sure. It's the responsibility, the weight of responsibility. At midnight, another group of watchers closed in on us. When Sylus emerged from Wolf's dilapidated house, the rain washed away. I accidentally hit the button. Were they also your enemies? He opened the car door and glanced at me as I was in the back seat. He didn't answer my question.
I got a call a few days ago. They said someone had taken out a massive insurance policy with my name. And the beneficiary is...
He rubbed the bridge of his nose.
Well, we have to move now thanks to you.
I ignore the sarcasm in his tone and focus on his word choice. He said "we" this time. After that night, I became Sylus's new contact. We continued to live on the edge for years. With what I learned from Sylus, I gradually became capable of handling missions beyond intel gathering. I could do them myself. But the city sank deeper into chaos and corruption. I witnessed too many innocent people get hurt, and I felt powerless. Lincoln had truly become a city of sin. Sometimes I was jolted out of bed because I had nightmares about being attacked. Then I'd hear the wailing police sirens or the muffled pops of gunshots. That was when I'd go downstairs barefoot and enter the living room. Sylus would usually be on the couch performing gun maintenance. I sat next to him and turned on the TV, and before I knew it, I drifted off to sleep. Just the sight of his silhouette was enough to lull me into a peaceful slumber. Over the years, countless enemies chased after us. Sylus and I moved many times. We hadn't finished unpacking at this new place, but neither Sylus nor I was in a rush. It had become the norm for us to move at a moment's notice.
Recently, there have been multiple disappearances in our city. The authorities would like to remind everyone to be careful around suspicious individuals when outside.
Sylus was in front of the cabinet picking out his equipment for today's mission. You can catch a stray bullet by just sitting at home. You don't even need to go out.
Catch.
He tossed me a newly modified gun. Can you finish your mission early today?
What? Do you need me to attend a guardian teacher conference?
I'm an adult, thank you very much. There will never be a guardian teacher conference. A new movie is premiering tonight. I want to see it.
Expired invitation?
Did he sneak off and go to the theater? If he needs to busy himself, he can always accept some lower paying jobs.
It's dark and quiet in the theater. Perfect for taking out a target. How convenient.
I think I meant for us to enjoy the movie, not it be a mission. I rejected the low-paying job offer and set my phone down. The cost of tonight's movie tickets can be taken out of my cut for today. My treat. Did I skip something?
You're very
No, okay. I thought I accidentally clicked.
generous.
He selected a few pieces of suitable gear and finished his preparations. He was about to head out. By the way, it's time for a 6-month income settlement. My share...
I'll deposit it for you, and I won't touch it.
Sylus, you don't know a lot of parents. You do know a lot of parents say that to trick their kids, right?
Didn't you say you were an adult earlier?
I did. And here I thought you had trouble hearing things.
We urge all citizens to come forward with any information.
Annoyed, I turned down the TV's volume. You should get going, and you're not allowed to stand me up tonight. Otherwise, I'll find a way to use up all of your retirement savings.
You're so ruthless.
Sylus turned to leave, and the lingering sound of his voice was more distinct than the door closing.
See you at the theater.
I wonder what kind of movie it is. I heard countless piercing sirens echoing from the other side of the city that night. I couldn't tell if it was in my nightmares or Lincoln. Early the next morning, the news report about a massive explosion at an abandoned chemical plant in the suburbs from the previous night was being broadcast on every street corner. That was a long sentence. Sylus never came back either. Did he leave me? Or maybe someone erased him from the city? When I could only speculate, wait, and search, those suspicions, dangerous figures reappeared around me. I refused to sit back and do nothing. I moved to the Northern District and hid my identity to become an enforcer. With the resources this position provided, I might have a better shot at finding Sylus. But I soon realized the Northern District wasn't a paradise. People were more complex and corrupt here than where I grew up. Even as an enforcer, there was still so much I couldn't change, all because I lacked the strength. At some point, the idea of leaving the city began to take root in my mind. But just as it became more persistent, Sylus reappeared out of nowhere. We're back to present day. My thoughts snap back to reality. Sylus is officially the prisoner I'm supposed to be interrogating. I clear my throat and attempt to get the conversation back on track. Let's return to the matter at hand. The LCBI needs you to provide information about Tartarus. The footsteps grew louder as I approach. It's the same guard from earlier. He's suddenly rushing toward us.
I just received orders from the warden. You're free to go, sir.
What?
We prepared all your personal belongings, sir. You can take them with you.
It quickly dawns on me that maybe this imprisonment is part of his elaborate plan. That's what I was thinking. I'm like, maybe this guard is actually with him.
Thank you for the pickup service, Miss Enforcer.
Behind us, the heavy iron gate of the prison slowly creaks shut. Standing here with Sylus and breathing in the city's not-so-fresh air, I'm hit with an uncanny sense of déjà vu. It's as if we've been transported to the past. I receive a belated message from the LCBI. Sylus has been released without charges. Apparently, he pulled some strings via unknown connections. So it was intentional. Or was I lucky to be assigned as your interrogator?
The prison gate isn't exactly the ideal spot for this conversation.
His evasive attitude is enough of an answer. It's clear he had this planned out since the beginning and kept me in the dark. Fuming, I turn on my heel and march to the parking lot. With his long strides, Sylus easily keeps up with me.
Where are you going?
I failed my mission. Obviously, I'll be heading home. And I'm clearly not important enough for this. Why don't you ask our bureau chief to escort you out of prison? Having entered the parking lot, I yank open the car door, and before I can even react, Sylus smoothly slides into the passenger seat, as if it's the most natural thing in the world. Why are you in my car?
It's been years. I thought we could catch up.
Sure, why don't I take a quick detour to the LCBI? We can catch up there instead.
Out of the frying pan and into the fire. You don't waste time, huh?
If we're talking about predators, the most dangerous one is sitting next to me. He turns his head to give me a sidelong glance. I tighten my grip on the steering wheel and slam my foot on the accelerator.
Do you care whether or not I'm alive? Come on, we're still on the same side.
To think that he's been quietly climbing the ranks to become a leader this whole time. Meanwhile, I thought he was dead. A knot of anger tightens in my chest. Really? I must have missed the part where you still considered me one of your own.
Then let me rephrase that. You're my former ally. My ally not only cleaned out my safe, but also bought me a massive life insurance policy.
You're the one who vanished without a word and left me wondering if you were even alive. I had to plan for my future somehow. But if you help me catch Tartarus this time, I'm not greedy. Why don't we split it 50-50 like before? What do you think? After a fleeting moment of silence, Sylus' face relaxes. I don't know, that was very difficult for me to say. A familiar, nonchalant smile reappears.
Well then, the protege has now outshone her master.
The train rumples past outside like an irritable monster, making my tiny apartment tremble in its wake. Steam billows from the bathroom as Sylus, looking fresh and clean, stands by the window. He glances outside briefly before turning his attention back to the room. I stand by the door and wait for him to break the silence.
The view here is pretty nice.
Thank you. Yeah, a vantage point at this height is excellent. You can see every movement outside. It's a defensive stronghold, easy to defend, hard to attack, and offers a great escape route.
I see you've retained what I taught you. But I meant to say that this place is on the outskirts of the Northern District. We're not far from the main bridge, so you can see the southern district from here.
We can't see the place we used to live in from this spot. I have a whirlwind of questions about the time Sylus was away, and there's so much I needed to know. What happened? Why didn't you come back?
Straight to the point. I thought you'd work your way there with some small talk first.
I wanna know. Sylus turns and leans against the edge of the sink.
I was ambushed by Ever's lapdogs.
Ever? I didn't expect that, but it makes sense for some reason. It's surprising that anyone could successfully ambush Sylus, but if it's Ever, they could do it. This business conglomerate initially started out in biotech. Now they're an innovative group that has changed people's daily lives. Behind the scenes, Ever has been pulling the strings at City Hall for their hidden agenda. The current mayor is nothing more than their puppet. Over the years, I used my position to secretly gather a substantial amount of evidence against them. One of the crucial pieces proves that the contamination, which has been plaguing Lincoln for years, is Ever's doing. However, as Ever's spokesperson, the current mayor still has a high chance of being re-elected. Unless I'm certain the evidence can decisively bring down Ever, I won't reveal it so easily. But when did you get on their bad side? As soon as the words left my lips, fragments of a distant memory suddenly flashed through my mind. When we first met, Sylus was already being hunted.
You can say we're old friends.
So the people who used to show up around us, they were Ever's agents this whole time.
But as time passed, they added another target to their list. After years of searching, Ever finally identified a person who's immune to the predators.
It's me! Sylus wipes the condensation from the mirror, then he reaches out to open my collar. A faint scar sits above the collarbone. And the one and only...
Ever has been relentlessly looking for you.
Crap.
And then they discover the pesky guy who's been hanging around you is their old nemesis.
The greatest profit comes when you control both the poison and its antidote. That's why Ever needs to eliminate Sylus first. That explosion at the abandoned chemical plant that shook the entire city, it was your doing, right?
Sometimes the best defense is a well-timed offense. The location happened to be Ever's most important biochemical laboratory in Lincoln.
I should have known he wouldn't just sit back and tolerate it. Venging every grievance is more his style. However, I learned they were conducting modification experiments there. Did Ever do something to you?
No.
Sylus's expression remains unfazed, as if the infamous explosion is barely worth mentioning. If you were alive this whole time, then why didn't you come find me?
You couldn't even get a good night's sleep in the Southern District. Now you're with the LCBI. Isn't it better?
You're not me. How can you possibly know what's better for me? Sylus remains non-committal. When I realize he knows everything about my life, down to the smallest detail, the resentment I held due to his absence disappears.
After that, I worked within Nightstrix. At times you can accomplish more in the shadows.
From what I gathered, creating and trafficking the predators is a small part of Ever's business. Apparently, those triple S-class predators are valuable assets and have control devices implanted in them. Do you think Tartarus was under their control when he attacked the candidate?
You're awfully concerned about that person. Why are you so determined to catch him?
It's my job. Those who don't cooperate with the LCBI shouldn't pry into an enforcer's work. His phone that's on the sink suddenly rings. Our conversation is cut short. You just got out of prison and you're already busy.
An associate is sending their regards.
Sylus types a short reply before turning off his phone.
As the only person who's immune, you should worry about yourself first. Ever has never stopped looking for you.
Thanks for the heads up. I already suspected certain individuals were watching me for years, though. I adjust my shirt collar to hide my scar. Don't worry, I won't let my guard down. Once I catch Tartarus, I plan to leave Lincoln.
Then I wish you success.
Thank you. As the election draws near, the number of predators in the city suddenly increases. Tension and violence permeate every corner of the city. The attacks become more frequent and intense. The LCBI is in complete disarray, and since I'm unable to extract any information from Sylus for now, I have no choice but to seek intel from other sources. Today I received a message from an informant. A nightclub in the Southern District has information about Tartarus. Rather nightclub? Oh. Chaos is the most infamous nightclub in the Southern District. It can be summed up in 2 words. Anything goes. The air is thick with various scents. Fluorescent lights dance across the crowd and paint surreal psychedelic hues on their faces. As soon as I set foot in chaos, countless eyes lock onto me. I make my way directly to a booth at the far end of the dance floor. There sits a bearded man who's flanked by several henchmen. Their bloodshot eyes and purposely barred canines leave little room for doubt. They're predators.
So, you're interested in buying information?
I am. He doesn't bother hiding his appraisal as he looks at me from head to toe.
Listen, girl. Didn't your informant warn you? Regular folks who waltz in here don't get to leave.
Her neck looks fragile. I can break it in one bite.
Don't try it.
You've got a death.
Aren't you open for business? Does it really matter whose money you're taking? The hostile predators close in on me. An eerie silence instantly falls over the dance floor. Clear, deliberate footsteps resound behind me. The predators who were about to surround me suddenly back away. It's as if they sense an even greater danger. Is it Sylus behind me? On the wall, I see the reflection of a tall, looming figure getting closer and closer.
Who are you?
You're out and about at this hour? What kind of game is this?
I'm here to get intel.
And did you get it?
Not yet. My friends here aren't exactly welcoming.
Is that so?
The air seems to freeze over. The overwhelming pressure emanating from Sylus is impossible to ignore. Like wild beasts submitting to a superior predator, the surrounding predators fall into a fearful silence. Sylus slightly tilts his chin to gesture to the revolver at the bearded man's waist.
Since you're not in the mood for business, why don't we play a game instead? I heard that revolver of yours made a few intel seekers retire.
Then, let's play roulette.
Cautiously shifting his gaze from Sylus, he draws his revolver.
6 chambers, 3 bullets. If you win, I'll tell you what I know.
I take the gun and shake it slightly. This gun's weight. As I recall that rainy night from many years ago, a familiar sensation creeps into my chest. I glance at Sylus. He makes a finger gun and gently taps his temple.
Bang.
Alright, we'll play. What is going on? I press the gun against my own temple. 3 shots happen so quickly that everyone freezes for a moment before struggling to process what just occurred. I slam the gun down on the table. You can try the remaining 3 shots, or you can tell me where Tartarus is. Hey, them other 3 shots are in there, bro.
I bet he doesn't have the guts to pull the trigger. 1 piece of intel for 3 lives. Now that's what I call a bargain.
You?
The bearded man grudgingly hands me an elegant card with an embedded chip.
If you have a death wish, go ahead and push your luck.
I got it.
Satisfied?
I am. Sylus wraps his arm around my shoulders and guides me towards the exit.
Let's go. I'm taking you home.
The streetlights feebly flicker as a car enters a deserted alley. Sylus moves his foot off the accelerator.
I see you haven't forgotten what I taught you.
I've been meaning to ask, where were you there? Why were you there tonight?
I was checking on my business ventures.
He was there because I was there. Oh wait, I missed
My
something. With the number of predators increasing, isn't doing business in the Southern District troublesome?
business involves all of Lincoln.
Outside the buildings lining the street are dark and empty as if they've been abandoned. Sylus, do you like the Southern District?
It's all right. A single bullet can buy you a lot of things here.
Understand his meaning. Bullets buy lives, and lives are traded for money. What about the Northern District?
A playground of decadence isn't bad either.
You seem to fit in wherever you go.
Where I choose to be doesn't depend on these sorts of things.
Dark, thick clouds hang in the night sky. It's going to start raining soon. I like this music too. With a piercing bird call, a black shape crashes into the windshield. Sylus and I get out of the car to investigate. We find a wounded crow. He picks up the bird and gives it a quick once-over.
It's not severely injured, but it won't be flying anytime soon.
Let's bring it with us.
Do I look like someone who rescues animals?
No, but you'll do it for me. The odds of being assassinated by a bird are 0. Don't tell me you're scared. Gives me a look before unceremoniously putting the bird in the back seat.
Never mind. It's not like this is my first rescue.
I'm home. With the crow's wound treated, this little interlude comes to an end. However, Sylus shows no signs of leaving. In my bedroom, I'm on my bed. I turn over the chip I won in my hands and scrutinize everything. If I can decode it, I'll figure out where Tartarus is. The incessant pitter-patter of rain gets on my nerves, yet it's not long before exhaustion washes over me. My eyes close on their own.
I'll rip your throat out with my teeth!
It's that dream again.
Kill them all!
Only me and the predators are in it. In my dream, I'm caught in an endless cycle of shooting and running. Over there. I dash into a roadside pharmacy, its windows and doors shattered, but just when I think I'm safe, a chain wraps around my ankle. I stumble and fall. When I look up again, a predator's face transforms into Sylus's.
Won't you help me?
Sylus. I wake up drenched in sweat, and my hand reaches under the pillow to feel for my revolver. Faint sounds drift in from outside my bedroom. The living room is shrouded in darkness. The lights are off. Barefoot, I walk over to his side and curl up on the sofa. I hug my knees to my chest.
I guess even enforcers have nightmares.
Heck yeah. The more you see, the more you dream.
Is it because you realized one person's strength wasn't enough to save everyone?
You took me under your wing. If I had any grand ideas about saving the world, wouldn't you be the first to know about them? Sylus's gaze falls on my face. A keen interest flickers in his eyes as the room becomes quiet.
So, you didn't become an enforcer to be a savior.
I joined the LCBI so I could gain access to more info and resources. That way I could find you.
That's it?
Why else would I join them? Little did I know that someone was keeping tabs on me the whole time. Those years of worrying were for nothing. Only then do I realize how tightly my nails dig into the palms of my hands. I unclench my fists.
Is the Northern District exactly how you imagined it'd be?
No. Even as an enforcer, I often feel like I don't belong here. Maybe that's why I chose to live on the outskirts of the Northern District.
Then do you feel like you belong in the Southern District?
Huh? Taken aback. Life in the Southern District was once fraught with danger, but with Sylus there, I never considered whether or not I belonged even once. This concept suddenly dawns on me, and not wanting him to notice my realization, I avert my gaze. I haven't really thought about it before.
Whenever you had nightmares back then, I assumed you went downstairs because you wanted to escape.
You're worried that I'd leave? So you always sat there because you were worried I might leave. Sylus doesn't answer me. Instead, he does what he always used to do. He sets aside the gun he was cleaning and turns on the TV with the remote. Despite learning about Tatara's whereabouts, I withhold this information from the LCBI. Relentless attacks from the predators constantly plague Lincoln. The public's demand for order grows and eventually erupts into protests, demonstrations, and strikes. The most favored candidate and his campaign team are drafting legislation to address the turmoil in Lincoln. If this bill is implemented after he wins the election, it inevitably ruffle a lot of feathers. Meanwhile, the incompetent incumbent mayor's approval ratings remain inexplicably high. It's clear Everett is working behind the scenes for this campaign. The car comes to a stop in front of an imposing high-rise building. I fish out the card and reassure myself that I arrived at the correct location. An unnatural quietness blankets the area. It's accompanied by the dim glow of a few streetlights in the distance. Looking up, I see the building loom before me. It's completely devoid of light and silently stands like a beast prowling in the darkness. Guided by the instructions on the chip, I locate a hidden elevator. As the elevator doors slide open before me, a man wearing a baseball cap hastily walks out. Caught off guard by his presence, I freeze and almost bump into him.
Sorry.
I nod at him and step away from the elevator. It's okay.
Thank you.
Suspicious. As he passes by, the man tugs his cap lower. In that fleeting moment, I catch only a glimpse of his partial profile. He looks familiar. Just before the elevator doors close, I notice a black sedan pulling up in front of the man. The numbers on the LCD screen quickly increase. My imminent meeting with Tatara's compels me to push aside my lingering questions. The elevator doors open at the top floor. When I step out, I'm greeted by a single imposing closed door. It's adorned with an intricate design of a golden owl with its wings spread. This is Nightstrix. After following these winding paths, I'm about to enter the heart of it all. I touch the handle and the door opens with a soft click. The room is shrouded in darkness. The glow of a tablet on the table provides some lighting. It's a solitary beacon in what feels like an endless void. The plush carpet swallows the sound of my footsteps. As my eyes adjust, the contours of a luxurious suite appear. I move toward the computer, and the screen reveals a list of campaign contributions. Each number is a staggering sum. As for the recipient, it's none other than the frontrunner of the mayoral election. That man downstairs was him. I swipe through the screen as a picture starts to form with the info I've gathered. The identity of the candidate's benefactor is obvious. I hear a sound behind me, and once in motion, I draw my gun and turn around. Tatara's? My gun is pointed at the darkness, but the person quickly grips my wrist and forces me to drop the weapon. Without missing a beat, I try to punch him and fail. My attacker can read me like an open book. A chilling realization hits me. He taught me everything I knew. He twists my arm behind my back and presses his body against mine to pin me down. The cold metal bars bite into my cheek. Pain shoots through my face. Let me go, Sylus.
You said someone else's name a few minutes ago.
Tartarus and the leader of the Night Strix who's supporting that candidate. They're both you. Is there even a difference? Sylus loosens his grip. I turn around to face him. Why would you disguise yourself as a predator to attack the candidate you're supporting?
Take a guess.
I fall silent for a moment. Ever since Sylus and I reunited, I've been quietly piecing together what he's been up to during his absence. Sylus's motives aren't that hard to figure out once I connect his actions and identities. You're purposely provoking public outrage. If people find out their beloved candidate was attacked by a monster created by Ever, then Ever and the current mayor would lose power. Your candidate would be able to take office. The past dealings between Night Strix and Ever must have given Sylus access to a treasure trove of incriminating evidence against them. A few days ago, someone said I became an enforcer to save Lincoln. And now the big bad wolf wants to be the silent savior of our corrupt metropolis?
I'm not interested in things like that. I'm just giving Ever a taste of their own medicine.
This is typical of Sylus. The turn of events I've experienced might not be too bad. Sylus rubs his temple and pretends to be concerned.
To think my protege had lofty ambitions. When you forge alliances, you sometimes need to make compromises.
What happens when your interests no longer align with your allies?
That's never been a problem. After all, there are always more solutions than problems. Yet you're visiting an SSS-class predator all by yourself. You're quite the daredevil.
You know I'm immune.
Yes, but you can still bleed and die.
That is true. The back of his hand brushes against my neck.
All it would take is one bite right here.
I step back, and a beam of light pierces through the darkness of the room. It illuminates us from behind. When I turned around, I realized he had pinned me against an enormous metal birdcage. Oh, we're getting close, guys. Inside it are large chains, empty syringes, and muzzles lie scattered on the floor. When I piece together their purpose, a whirlwind of emotion sweeps through me. When did you become Tartarus?
On the night our movie date fell through. I destroyed that laboratory, but I had to pay a price.
The conversation takes a somber turn, yet his tone remains noticeably nonchalant.
It's not too difficult to get suppressants on the black market, but I'd rather not give my roommate a front row seat to my nightly horror show.
In that moment, the resentment I had, the pain of knowing he was alive but he chose not to see me, dissipates. Back when I was with the LCBI, I encountered predators who were using suppressants. The more they use them, the more likely their bodies develop resistance. The suppressants become less effective over time, which led to more frequent frenzies. Sylus grips my shoulders and guides me closer to the enormous birdcage.
It serves as a protective measure, in a sense.
Why are you showing me this? Are you implying you want me to lock you up if you go into a frenzy again? I try to keep my tone lighthearted, but deep down, I'm afraid he might actually want me to do it.
What will you do after that?
I don't know. As soon as I can think of what to do with you in the birdcage, I will act on it immediately. I might be imagining things, but Sylus's tone seems to carry a hint of anticipation.
All right, then.
He suddenly spins me around and pins me against the iron bars of the birdcage.
So, do you want to see what I'm actually like when I lose my mind?
What? His breath caresses my ear as he nuzzles and sniffs my neck like a wild beast. My throat is exposed to his teeth, and an unusual tingling sensation wells up from deep within. A strange feeling, tinged with fear, spreads throughout my body and transforms into an unfamiliar excitement. Sylus? His slightly sharp canines graze my neck and leave painful pinpricks. I tilt my neck away, but Sylus immediately grips my throat.
See, avoiding danger is part of your survival instinct. It's just like how you want to leave Lincoln.
What if I wanted to leave Lincoln because I thought you weren't here?
Well, I'm here right now, aren't I? Tartarus and Sylus are in your hands. Will you arrest me, misenforcer?
Sylus releases me, but I reach up to wrap my arm around his neck. My fingers touch his lips. I gently brush the pad of my thumb against his canine teeth and shake my head. No. Some thoughts linger in our hearts for years without being resolved, yet a decision can sometimes be made in an instant. With Sylus by my side, some things aren't out of reach. After years of gathering evidence against Ever, it finally finds its purpose. I'll organize everything and send it to the office of that mayoral candidate. Soon after, Tartarus, I said it right this time, reappeared at a street rally. While trying to save someone, he attacked me and I was hospitalized after. Undoubtedly, the news headline, "Brave Enforcer Saves Innocent Civilian from SSS-Class Predator," will be on the front page. On the day I was admitted to the hospital, my identity as an immune individual was also exposed. Yeah, crap. The media soon created a new headline, "Only immune individual in the world donates blood for cure research." That's a nice hospital room. I'm a nurse, so I appreciate nice rooms. I just changed out of my hospital gown when I heard the door open behind me. Why are you here?
To visit the wounded, of course.
You didn't even bring flowers. That wasn't very thoughtful of you.
I brought this.
He pulls out 2 movie tickets from his pocket. They're for a late night showing at a drive-in theater. The Last Duo. I couldn't help but give a wry smile. Seriously, you chose this one?
If I'm not mistaken, you haven't been to a movie theater in a while. And it's the only movie playing right now, just so you know.
Oh, okay. Okay, it just reminded me of expired invitation.
Let's not let that title become our reality again.
Sylus watches as I meticulously tuck the movie tickets into my pocket.
Ever is about to make their move. Are you ready?
Yeah. Since I proposed this plan to escalate things, I've been ready. My plan was for Sylus to attack me under the guise of Tartarus. Then I reveal... I can't speak anymore. Then I'll reveal my identity as an immune individual in front of everyone. Ever would never let someone like me donate blood. So they either acquire my blood or destroy it completely. Now, if we get the headlines to be something about Ever planning to kill an immune individual capable of resolving the chaos in Lincoln City...
They're right on schedule.
A cacophony of sounds reverberates throughout the hospital. Enveloped in thick smoke, people frantically flee for their lives. Outside, pandemonium erupts. We'll lead them to the rooftop. We're shooting. The wind on the hospital rooftop howls, yet it fails to mask the chorus of agonized screams below. But these weren't the cries of the predators. The attackers were Ever's assassins. Their objective and target are obvious. They're here for me, who's immune. Bodies are hitting the floor.
Pathetic.
Years may have passed, but Sylus and I still move in perfect sync. As a piercing wall of police sirens grows closer, we defeat the last assassin. Used cartridges clang on the ground as I put away my weapon. The police will clean up this mess. Sylus, we're clear. Let's move. A metallic tang of blood hangs heavy in the air. Sylus looks up and wipes away the streak of red on his cheek with the back of his hand. His eyes shine with a dangerous light.
Even though we can't kill you or him, both of you can rot in hell.
With his last breath filled with hate, the assassin violently crushes a small glass vial in his clenched fist. A faint, peculiar fragrance mixed with the metallic scent of his blood wafts toward me. The scent is too familiar. The LCBI had seized numerous files like it during their raids on illegal business deals. But among the predators, it had a chillingly straightforward name: the Frenzy Enhancer. Oh no. I rush Sylus back to the HQ of Nightrix as fast as possible. Deep within the room, a reinforced cage is ready. Silent, it waits to fulfill its role in containing the beast that's about to be released. It's like werewolf adjacent. Sylus's increase in body temperature and ragged breathing indicates he's about to go into a frenzy. I've got to restrain him now. Sylus has thrashed and become so violent that I can only put the muzzle on him and chain one of his legs, that I have no choice but to scramble out of the cage.
Won't you help me?
No! She's gonna open the cage. Maybe she just should have stayed outside. It's too late. I'm not going to just watch you turn into a monster, but chain him. Is it thrilling to have me at your mercy? What is he talking about?
Thrilling to have me at your mercy.
We got quick time events.
Why resist me now? You made your choice when you stepped inside. You scared?
A little.
Your idea of health is heartwarming.
Dang, I'm cute in that fit. When you approach your prey, you must ensure your own safety first. You taught me this.
Prey?
What am I examining? What am I looking for? Is the activator over here? Locate. What am I doing? What am I doing? Back to the. What am I doing?
Do you think I'm putty in your hands?
Am I doing it?
Do you think
Yes.
I'm putty in your hands?
Investigate. What am I investigating? I need to restrain him. What am I doing? Oh no.
Don't press it. That feels good. How did it feel to watch me from outside
Have to break free. Look at his eye. Press the activator.
If I really turned into a monster, what would you have done?
I'd lock you in the cage and walk away.
Impossible.
So now you have to find out what happens if you don't succeed. Because there's more to that cutscene that I have seen. And that must be failure or getting not to success fast enough. I don't know. Okay. News spreads throughout the city of the mayor's collusion with Ever. For the sake of winning the election, assassins were hired to kill the immune individual. The massive public outcry caused by this incident allowed that baseball cap candidate to be elected with the majority. Subsequently, with the disclosure of a large amount of compelling evidence from anonymous sources, Ever's crimes were exposed to the public. At last, the ones who lurked in the dark to manipulate Lincoln were brought to justice. The new city council introduced legislation for the treatment and management of the predators. With the devotion of a solution underway, this legislation would be an achievable goal in the near future. With its deep-rooted problems resolved, Lincoln will change for the better. I was wearing a normal fit. In the vast expanse of this drive-in theater, only Silas's car is present. The sweet aroma of popcorn fills the confined space of the car. I steal a glance at Sylus.
You've been peeping at me for the entire evening. Not interested in the movie?
It's not that. I was thinking about how Lincoln is celebrating the new mayor taking office today. Are we the only ones who decided to watch a movie tonight? I turn my head toward the screen and reach out for some popcorn. Our fingertips touch before they quickly move away. I notice how Sylus is looking at me out of the corner of my eye. Why are you? It looks like you're not paying attention to the movie either. He turns his body to the side. One hand rests on the steering wheel as he faces me, and his gaze doesn't falter.
I wonder if you ever noticed. Whenever you wanted me to do something, even as a little squirt, you always beat around the bush first.
I clear my throat and pull out a long, jet black feather. It's not much, I just prepared a small gift. Sylus twirls the feather between his fingers. He carefully examines it from every angle.
Did the bird we saved give it to you?
Yeah,
It's fond of you, I guess.
but I think it'd be better if I gave the feather to you. After all, someone saved me before.
Do you know what it means when a bird gives you a feather?
I flash a mischievous grin at him. Do you?
I know exactly what it means, which is why I'm accepting this.
As if on cue, the movie's credit music begins to play. We turn our attention to the screen. With reckless abandon, the main characters floor it and speed off on an endless highway. We did it! Alright, so now we gotta go back because we got, there's two separate endings, it looks like. So let's go back and fail. I have to break free. That's the activator. I'm not gonna press it.
Now you'll never fly away, my little bird.
Darkness has a way of freezing time. When I finally came to my senses, I didn't know how long I was out. The metallic scent of blood fills my nostrils. Several parts of my body are throbbing in pain. I touch them only to find my hand coated in something sticky. I'm still alive. The will to live is overwhelming, powerful enough to conquer everything else. As my vision slowly returns, I become aware of heavy breathing nearby. I can see a figure in the corner of the birdcage. The person who saved me years ago has been transformed into an artificial monster. Sylus. A pair of hands once again clamp tightly around my throat in response. Let go of me, Sylus. The air in my lungs is rapidly vanishing. His eyes, a few centimeters from mine, no longer carry a shred of the person I once knew. My fingers suddenly brush against something cold and hard. My revolver. It's been my faithful companion for many years. Its presence is a reminder that I still have one final option. Ooh. Did I kill him? After I lock the cage, I stagger to the rooftop. I see the overcast sky. Thunder rumbles within dark clouds. It all seems so heavy. I can't scream, let alone breathe. A howling wind blows a tattered newspaper to my feet. The headline announces the assassination of a mayoral candidate. My throat burns with a searing pain. I'm reminded of that stormy night.
Never hesitate when you shoot.
I shot at. Birds fall from the sky, and their cries pierce the air as the city lies in ruins. This place will never see another dawn. So we got 2 endings. That's crazy. 2 endings. I want to know what happens when you miss like all of the quick time events. Okay.
Won't you help me?
Okay, so we're gonna miss all of the quick time events and see where does that get us. I gotta let my reflexes not take over. Don't take over. So it's gonna make him lose his sanity.
That look in your eyes riles me up.
So it ends with what I consider the bad ending. Yeah, and we end up shooting him. Yeah, so it turns out into the bad ending. That is wild. That is crazy. As far as the ending, I prefer the second one, or like the first one that I got, but the second one called Endgame Terrors, where he is saved and he's alive and we got the activator, which is in his eye. So there's a good ending and a bad ending. And there's 2 ways to get to it. Okay. That's crazy. Innocent Birdcage with Sylus.